Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've got a few headlines. We're going to be seeing some new FOMC members coming in 2025. So I've got a little headline on that. I've got the main headline, which is Robert Kiyosaki's Bitcoin predictions for 2025. And I've got another headline about Solana and a spot futures ETF that is potentially in the works. So let's dive on in today and get you prepped for success. We will start with the stock heat map, like always. We've got a bunch of red on the TradFi side of things. We ended up closing down from last week, and it's a looking to continue in the pre-market. So Apple sitting down 1.32%, and in the pre-market sitting down about 0.38%. We've got Nvidia, which is sitting down at 2.09%, and in the pre-market continuing on those losses, down about 0.49% right now. It's been wavering to the top side of 50% or 0.5% and to the bottom side. So we'll kind of see how that stabilizes at market open. We've got Berkshire Hathaway down 0.56%, and in the pre-market is sitting up just a smidge, up 0.02%. We do have Amazon sitting down as well, down 1.45%, and in the pre-market also sitting down 0.21%. We've got Eli Lilly sitting down at 1.38%, and in the pre-market is sitting down at 0.05%. We've got ExxonMobil sitting down at 0.01% from close on Friday, and in the pre-market taking back some of those losses, up 0.38% right now. We've got Tesla sitting down at 4.95%. In the pre-market, getting hit just a little bit harder than the rest has, and it's sitting down 1.29%. We've got Microsoft sitting down 1.73%. In the pre-market, along the same lines as the rest of the big seven, sitting down just a smidge, down 0.24%. We've got Google sitting down 1.55%, continuing on those losses in the pre-market, down 0.27%. And we've got Meta sitting down 0.59%, and in the pre-market sitting down 0.44%. On the crypto side of things, we're sitting kind of green. We've got Bitcoin up 0.25%. We've got Ethereum up at 2.15%. We got XRP sitting down just a smidge, down 0.58%. We've got BNB sitting up a 0.94%. Solana sitting up at 2.12%. We've got Dogecoin sitting up 2.38%. We've got Cardano up 1.74%. Wrapping out the rest of the top 10, we've got Shiba Inu sitting up a 1.66%, Chainlink up 1.61%, TON sitting down just like XRP, down 0.51%, and Avalanche up 2.29%, while Tron is sitting down 0.3%. For the economic calendar, we don't have a lot for today. We do have pending home sales and Chicago PMI. Other than that, we don't really have there's the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index as well. Other than that, it's pretty much a light day for the rest of the day. It's all a morning data drop. The last one's coming out at 10:30 Eastern time. We do have those home sales month over month and year over year. These are pending home sales, not actual home sales. So month over month and year over year going to be at 10, and then the Chicago PMI coming out at 9:45. And then at 8:30 Eastern time, we do get a big data drop coming out from China. The NBS manufacturing PMI, which is kind of in line with the Chicago PMI for the United States. So something to keep your eye on if you are trading those Asia markets. We are getting some data from China at 8:30 Eastern time. And then we do have some data coming out Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. That will be the S&P Schiller home price month over month and year over year. We also have the API crude oil stock change, which because it's Wednesday is a holiday, will be coming out a day early. And Wednesday is going to be a nice light day. China does have another manufacturing PMI coming out on Wednesday. That will be at 8:45 Eastern time. So another Asia market mover. And then going into the rest of the week, we do have a little bit of some data coming out with initial jobless claims. That will be 8:30 on Thursday. And then we have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, and then the rest of that crude oil stock information coming out. But other than that, it's really going to be a waiting on Friday after we get today's data. So kind of a light week, It is New Year's, so sorry about that. Let's hop over to the fear and greed. We've got the stock market still sitting in fear, 34, 0 points. It was closed, so no worries there. We probably will hit a little bit lower on that. I'm looking at maybe one more hit on that extreme fear for the stock side of things. Crypto, on the other hand, has come down quite nicely on that fear and greed. This is what I like to see when we are in bull runs, when we do get more sideways movements, to see that cool off on the fear and greed very quickly. And it allows you to have a little more market bullish sentiment to take control. So we are sitting at 65 and greed. We are out of extreme greed for the first time in a long time. And this is what we like to see, especially after a big run up. We hit that $100,000 mark. We broke through it. We hit that 108, and then it's been down ever since. And this cool off on the fear and greed is long overdue. So I'm happy with 65 and greed. I do think we see a little bit lower, but we will have to dive into that when we get to the charts. I do see some people in here. We've got username saying, BC, don't worry, I am here. Darren Does Things saying, good morning, fam. And username saying, how did your Christmas ribs taste? I imagine they tasted like second place to my ribs. Actually, they were pretty nice. I wish they had been pork ribs. They were beef spare ribs, so, not exactly what I was wanting for ribs, but they were what we had, so that's what I made. They were absolutely delicious, though. They marinated for 3 days, and they were so flavorful. It was absolutely amazing. The meat was definitely falling off the bone when everything was done, and it just it was like the right mixture of sweet and spicy, and just no barbecue sauce needed. It was so good. Let's hop over to this liquidation heat map. We do have 2 hot spots sitting on the top side, and then some on the bottom side as well. That's starting for the top side up at 94,783 and goes all the way up to 94,935. For the bottom side, it's a little bit of a broader range, starting at 92,800 and goes all the way down to 92,300. What was that? 92,300. If it would go to the right one, 92,350. So a broad range for the bottom side and a slight range for the top side of things on the 24-hour chart. Looking like we might grab some of that bottom side liquidity here and kind of see where, if we can get that bounce and the push back to the upside to grab some of the top side liquidity. If you zoom it on out though, take a look at that 3-day. You can kind of see most of the hot spot is back to the top side of things. So really going to need to find that bouncing point here on Bitcoin, which I think we find here within this week or beginning of next week. We'll kind of have to dive into that when we take a look at that chart here in a second. I see Jesse Gulek in here saying good morning fam. Username saying damn, near doesn't want to hit below $5. Hey, that's good. If you were buying back at some of those points that I was telling you about, almost at the point where I can say last year, but that higher floor on near is what I've been hoping for, especially when you're not seeing a lot of your alts run the same way that it did last cycle. So a higher floor from before is definitely what we've been wanting on some of these projects. I wish Injective would have the same kind of higher floor, but you know, I've been taking advantage of those buying opportunities. For the 3-day, we did have that hot spot sitting to the top side of us, starting at 95,767, and it runs all the way up to 96,100. And for the bottom side, we've got a light hot spot. Most of that liquidity got taken out last night on the move to the down, the weekend, and the move last night. We took out a bunch of liquidity. We do have some more that's sitting right at the bottom side at 92,878. If you zoom it on out a little bit further, take a look at that 2-week. That's another one that I really like to look at for those swing trades. You can kind of see here most of that liquidity is riding on the top side of things. You do have that light hot spot sitting down here at 92,174. The top side liquidity is sitting right at that $100,000 mark. You do have another one that's sitting right there at 102,800, and then it kind of fizzles out as we continue to go to the top side. If you zoom it on out, take a look at that month, you can kind of see that there's just the extreme highs and lows that we're really looking for on Bitcoin. So looking kind of nice for the potential for a bounce, especially since when you start zooming it on out, there is no real hot spots of liquidity to drag the market in either direction, and we just need to clear out some of the shorter term liquidity, which would be easy to do as soon as we find our floor and continue on up, back up to the upside. So let's take a look at that Bitcoin chart. I did have a few chats in here. We will take a look at that in just a second. Let's see. We see like number one is Jesse's. Thank you for that, Jesse. We've got Jesse saying good morning to username. Jesse saying AIXBT. I'm not sure if that's a crypto project. We've got AI16Z. Fuel Network. Are these crypto projects you've been looking at? Might have to take some of your suggestions, because you be finding projects that just rip like 120% to the upside. Let's see. That's right. It's the afternoon for Uncle Jesse. Let's see. Username saying, well, it makes me angry, BC. I want more. Had a fill at $4.86 waiting, and the quick wick down to 487. So angry. And this is why I also have alerts set. So if I think, if I have that order that's sitting at that point that I want, then I will take an alert and I will set it right above there, because too many times I've had that move to the downside come right above my target, and I'm like, what, you didn't fill though. I wanted that price. And even if it's just a cent difference, I would gladly still take it the cent more expensive. So I'll set an alert just above it, and then I'll manually fill that myself, because I want those juicy prices, and missing out on those gets me feeling the same way that you are right now. Jesse's saying crypto for all of those. Love AI plays. So maybe I will have to do some deep dives into some of those today while I have some free time. So let's hop into the Bitcoin chart. This is the weekly. As you can kind of see here, we're sitting right there at the golden pocket. We do have a potential for a little more downside on the weekly chart. As you can kind of see, the liquidity switched back from light green to red. We are in a bit of a downside on our RSI primed, and your MACD's looking to potentially cross that indicator line. We'll just kind of have to see how the data drops for this morning send the market. Let's zoom it on in, take a look at that daily chart. As you can kind of see here, we do have some potential bottoming coming here in like the next few days or so. We are still seeing a bit of some downside pressure. You are sitting red on the liquidity, but it is starting to slow down. Waiting for some reversal signals to flash, waiting for some oversold signals to flash, and really send things back to the upside. There's plenty of room to go to the downside though, and that's where I have some targets drawn out. You do have some more room to the downside on your MACD as well. You just ended up crossing your zero line down to the negative. So waiting to see the curvature play out on that as well. It is kind of at that point where we might see a little bit of curvature, but this liquidity on your higher term time frames is still kind of red. So we're going to need to see that liquidity switch back to the green to kind of rescue things like we saw it back here. And that was that what we were waiting for, to kind of see that liquidity switch back over and move on up to the upside. And that's kind of what we're waiting on here again. And I feel like we're probably going to see a little more downside action before we see that bottom and the move back to the upside, especially when you're seeing your TradFi markets in that same kind of trend as well. Let's zoom it on in just a little bit more. Take a look at that 4-hour chart. As you can see here, the liquidity is sitting at light red for our 4-hour, which is nice to see. It leaves the potential for a quick, easy switch over to the green, and seeing inflows take control. We are bouncing up against this golden pocket, which could really send things in either direction here, especially since it's been a point of contention here and here, again here. The golden pocket is going to need to hold if we really want to move back on up to the upside. You do have your MACD line, which is right there at the point to cross the indicator line to the top side on the bottom half of things. So still a little bearish, but definitely at that point where we could start swinging and going the other way. You aren't really getting any reversal signals here on your prime oscillator though. You do have a slight divergence. It went to light red, but you're not seeing any reversal signals. You did get one back here, which moved us back up to this 382, and we've been down ever since. There's no oversold signals either, so kind of at a point where we really need that green liquidity to come back in and rescue the price. If you zoom it on in to that hourly, we're kind of sitting at the same where we had that divergence that played out. The liquidity is light green and is looking a bit like we're going to see a top signal here again, and a reversal signal kind of flash to come back down. And that's right here at this golden pocket, which I've been thinking that we don't really hold and would drag us down just a little bit further. That's why I have these downside targets drawn out. Let's zoom it on in just a little bit so you can kind of get a better view here. I do have a downside target here above the platinum pocket that's sitting at 90,890. I did have another few bouncing points down here. This is an order block where we've gotten a lot of moves back here, which allows us to kind of switch direction. If we do come back down to it, there will be a lot of liquidity there to move the market back to the upside, which the top side being 88,750 and the bottom side being that 86,700. And so if we do end up losing this 90,890, breaking below that platinum pocket, there's a lot of potential here in this range to see a lot of buying pressure. You did see BlackRock buying a lot of Bitcoin when everyone else was scared, and with that being OTC, you're not really going to see that benefit Bitcoin's price much. You're just going to see some of the exchange liquidity for Bitcoin kind of going away, and this is what's going to bring that price shock as well. So waiting to see where we find our bottom, because I think we reject here off of this golden pocket sitting at that $94,000 mark and kind of drag down just a little bit further. If we take a look at that 15-minute, kind of see where the morning's lying, you can kind of see we're really bouncing up against this top side. We've got divergences that have been stacking up. It's a light red. You've got your MACD, which is just crossed the indicator line to the top side, but really running out of momentum as your liquidity is ticking back down and is light red right now as we are approaching this golden pocket. So definitely looking for those downside targets here at the beginning of the week. I don't know if anyone has any alt requests that they'd like me to take a look at, but after I dive into some of these headlines, I might knock out one of the headlines just so I have some more time to do some talking on projects here. I know Jesse's probably got a project or two he'd like me to take a look at. I see he said Flare is up at 246% last 22 minutes, or is that 2.46%? You used a comma there. So let's dive into this Bitcoin article real quick. We've got Bitcoin to 350K. Kiyosaki stands firm amid BlackRock ETF drama. Let's zoom that in just a little bit so you can potentially read along. We've got Bitcoin fans have been abuzz after a bold prediction emerged. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, believes that Bitcoin can reach 350,000 by 2025. His prediction isn't just based on a guess. Kiyosaki points out the digital asset's impressive 130% growth this year as a sign of what is to come. Can Bitcoin really go that high? The institutional push, help, or hindrance. Institutional players like BlackRock are entering the crypto space in big ways. Their involvement legitimizes Bitcoin, but things are not all rosy either. Recently, BlackRock reported 188 million in outflows for its Bitcoin ETF. For some people, that was a red flag. The critics worry that such giants will manipulate the market. Kiyosaki, an adamant proponent of financial freedom, encourages investors to keep their Bitcoin private wallets and not let institutions handle it. Larry Fink dumping Bitcoin. Vivek warned Larry Fink of BlackRock. I'm not gonna. Yeah, you can read that yourself. Is Bitcoin getting too centralized? One of the best things about Bitcoin is its decentralized nature. As Wall Street behemoths such as BlackRock begin to dip their toes in, fears of centralization starts to fill the air. Kiyosaki does not trust these institutions. He believes they may end up gaining too much influence over the crypto market. This will shift Bitcoin from its original appeal as people's money. And that's something I've been concerned about too, where the ETFs are both a helpful and a hindrance on the actual Bitcoin message. So with such concerns, institutional interest still may drive up demand. If the market perceives Bitcoin as a safe bet due to BlackRock and others, its price may skyrocket. However, the potential downside, the loss of the power of decentralization, cannot be disregarded. Will Bitcoin hit 350,000 by 2025? Opinions remain divided. The crypto market is famously unpredictable, driven by the factors like investor sentiment, regulation, and global economic conditions. Kiyosaki's bullish stance appears to those who see Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, but others argue that the market manipulation and regulatory scrutiny could keep prices in check. For now, one thing is quite obvious. Bitcoin is sure to be hot and highly debated topic. Investors' caution is the watchword of the day. While thoughts of 350,000 is tempting, a consideration of risk and reward must be undertaken. Crypto markets are still in an evolving stage. Predictions such as those Kiyosaki's are intriguing, but only time will tell whether or not Bitcoin will see those dizzying heights. For now, stay educated and cautious, which is definitely something we talk about here on Piper Academy, because we're all about the education. And I know me and LBC will probably dive more into what this headline has to say, because we've got a New Year's special show that we're going to be doing on the 1st. It will be on MAD, and we want to talk about a lot of these things and what we see for 2025 across the market. I know I'll touch on some TradFi things, and we've got a lot that we've been talking about, and well, I think it'll be a very interesting show. We've got some ETF talk in there. We've got some price targets that we want to talk about. We've got the market shift, the market shift, and kind of how the whole crypto cycle is beginning to change, and we're starting to see that as we've been running up and seeing some of the projects run. So got a great New Year's show planned out for y'all on December 1st at Markets After Dark. I saw Crypto Billy in the chat. Good morning, Billy. Hope you had a great weekend. We've got Donato Cabrera in here as well. Let's see. 2.46% for that flare. All right, we've got, how about ATH or ENA dealer choice? Well, we'll go with ENA on that one username. I've never looked at that one before, so I'll break it down. Got Uncle Jesse. So you use that to curb fees instead of paying for Coinbase One. No idea what you're talking about there. Missed out on something. Username saying boomers are starting to buy Bitcoin. My best friend's dad moved 15K into IBIT because his financial advisor told him he should allocate it to it. So, and this is something we will start seeing more and more, especially now that you have BlackRock and a bunch of these other firms who have upped their allocation amount from that 1% recommendation to 2% recommendation. And this is what they will be telling people to allocate into Bitcoin. So a 2% from 1%, if you're talking about your more TradFi person with your bigger accounts and things like that, they've got their potential upside without risking a whole bunch, but that's still a lot of money, and we'll kind of have to see how this plays out. And I think it raises the floor for what we see in the crypto bear market coming 2026, 2027. I think we kind of break some of the trends that we've been seeing, and we'll have to talk about that on the New Year's show. That's definitely something me and LBC talked about as well. Username saying institutions were always going to come in and take over once they saw the value in it and figured out how they can control it. Now they are in, and there'll be laws passed to aid them further. And this is something I was kind of worried about. There's a lot of potential for Bitcoin's price to the upside, but it also brings a lot of risk to the markets, especially when you have such centralized holders of Bitcoin. So, I've talked about it a lot on the show. I know I've talked about it when me and LBC were doing shows together. It's a double-edged sword, especially if you see things like what we did when they took the US dollar off of the gold standard, and they're like, hey, you have to give us your gold. And then they raised the price of gold, and then but the only people that benefited was them. And this is something that Robert Kiyosaki went through. He went through the whole gold buyback by the US government, where they basically just cheated the Americans out of their gold. And that's why he recommends that you hold your Bitcoin in a private wallet and you don't let anyone know, because if you're keeping it on these centralized exchanges where you have like Coinbase, who works a lockstep with the US government, which has it has a lot of potential for taking crypto further, but it also has a lot of risk, where if the US government's like, hey, Coinbase, if you want to continue to operate in the United States, you gotta slide that person's Bitcoin our way, because we're buying the Bitcoin, because we're gonna do the same thing that we did with gold, and instead of being where it's not a gold-backed currency, they want to back their currency with Bitcoin. Then you're gonna get screwed, especially since you don't own your keys there. Coinbase owns your keys, and if the U.S. government says, hey, if you want to continue to operate, give us that Bitcoin, I have no doubts that Coinbase would very quickly and discreetly hand over Bitcoin, especially if they want to continue to operate and make money. So centralization is The exact opposite of what crypto is all about, but you need centralization to push crypto further. Let's see what we got time for. It is 6:35. I'll touch on the Solana article and save this one for later. We've got some new FOMC members that'll be coming our way in 2025, but it's a doozy of an article, and the Solana one is a little bit quicker and opens up the door for me to hop right into Sol afterwards. So Volatility Shares targets Solana Futures ETF and latest SEC filing. The cryptocurrencies market is seeing a wave of exchange-traded fund ETF applications, reflecting a push towards mainstream adoption. Recent filings, including Solana's Futures ETF and Bitcoin-linked convertible bond fund, showcasing a shift towards diversified investment options. Solana's ETF on December 27th, Volatility Shares took a significant step by filing for a futures-based Solana ETF, aiming to capitalize on the growing interest in altcoins. The fund intended to mirror Solana's price movements by focusing on future contracts on exchange regulated by the U.S. Commodity Future Trading Commission. Its strategy may include Solana-linked financial instruments with the asset's value derived from those investments. This approach could open the door to broader institutional interest in Solana. Meanwhile, market analysts have noted the bold timing of this filing, as Solana futures are not yet actively traded. Some suggest that the approval of this ETF could set the stage for a spot Solana ETF in the future. This is wild. Solana's futures ETF filing before Solana futures even exist. Probably a good sign Solana futures are on the way, which arguably bodes well for spot odds, Bloomberg ETF analyst Eric Bakanis stated. And this is something that is coming among the wave of the spot ETF being voted on in August. This is kind of like Bacana said, it is a little bit out of order, but it definitely bodes well if you can get that futures to really help with the approval of the spot ETF for Solana. And we'll just kind of have to see how things play out for 2025. I do see some potential for other cryptos if they want to try to get that ETF, but I think Solana might struggle just a little bit. There have been concerns that have been talked about by the SEC, and I think that's going to be the barrier for Solana, especially since they have a lot of nastiness on their blockchain. There's people that get rugged and things like that. That's going to make the TradFi markets feel a little unsafe, and that's something that the SEC has talked about. So we'll kind of have to see how things go for 2025 and Solana, but an ETF will be big news, and you might start seeing the potential for Sol to maybe flip Ethereum. Not this run. That's definitely not a this run thing, but later runs. So I still think ETH holds its market share this run and next run, but I think if Solana gets an ETF in 2025, you will see Solana start nipping at the heels of Ethereum. So we'll kind of have to see how that plays out. I do have the Solana chart pulled up. We've got a lot of potential here. Let's zoom on out to that weekly chart, break it down from the top to the bottom here. We've got us sitting right above that golden pocket and below that 50% line on a retracement, which is also above that 50% line on a fair value gap that I have drawn out from back here. I should probably move that bottom side back up to Oh, that's from the daily. Never mind. I won't move that. That's from a daily chart. Ignore it's right in line with those equal candles here back on the weekly. The same with Bitcoin. As you can kind of see here, we've got a potential for some downside. The MACD on the unlike Bitcoin has already crossed that indicator line to the downside, but it is on the positive side of things for the weekly. So to see some more downside in the markets is definitely something that we've been looking at. We've talked about it for quite a while here, and is nothing to be too concerned about. Getting these juicy prices on Solana would be a nice buy-in point. You do have your prime oscillator, which hit those oversold signals back when we got way up here on the top side of things. And we've been in that downtrend ever since. To find that floor back here on our platinum pocket at a right on top of what was our resistance line is definitely a healthy move to see. I know it's a little bit scary to see, especially when it's like, oh crap, that's like more than a 50% retracement. But this is what you see on your alts over and over and over again. They don't have that same bolstering of ETFs like Bitcoin does. So Bitcoin's retracements has been different. Ethereum's retracements have been different. And that's where you start seeing that volatility that was on Bitcoin that people took advantage of start moving over to some of these alts, especially the established alts. So they get that big move to the upside, and then they see a 60% retracement. And in a volatile asset, that is extremely healthy. And you want to see that move to the downside so you can buy that up. So I'm just going to have to zoom in just a little bit to kind of see what we're looking at on some of the shorter time frames. As you can kind of see here, that daily chart is looking a little bit like we're running out of steam. You do have things that switched over to the green on your prime oscillator, looking to potentially cross here on your MACD on the bottom side of things, but your liquidity is sitting very red here. As you can kind of see, it is outflows that are ticking back up, and it's looking like this 50% line on our fib retracement is going to be some local resistance and maybe continue on down to the downside. That doesn't mean that we won't hit a little bit of a push to the upside here in the mornings or anything like that. But for the more higher term time frames, it does look like the same with Bitcoin, that there is some potential downside movements. So definitely something to keep your eye on. Higher term time frames are showing a bit of some downside potential. You do have the 4-hour, which is sitting green, but you're getting a little toppy here on your prime oscillator, waiting for some reversal signals to flash. Your MACD is right at that point where it's about to cross your indicator line and drag back down below that zero line. And like for Bitcoin, where it was sitting at your golden pocket, it is for the 50% line on our fib retracement here on Solana. So just looking for those downside targets. You do have that 50% line on our fair value gap is sitting at 187 and 11 cents, where we could kind of make a floor, but I think we drag down a little bit further. Revisit that golden pocket sitting at $179.50. I do think we come a little bit lower though and try to close this fair value gap, which is at 162. I know that is kind of scary to think of, but if Bitcoin's going to drop down to that $90,000 mark that I talked about, then this is definitely a potential for Solana. Let's zoom it on in just a little bit. Take a look at the hourly chart. As you can kind of see here, the hourly running, just starting to run out of steam. You are seeing that outflow slow down just a little bit, but your prime oscillator is kind of hitting that point where we might see some topping signals here kind of soon. Your MACD just crossed your zero line, so a potential move to the upside, but I don't think with the outflows being that the way they are, we see a massive move to the upside off of it. So let's zoom it on in just a little bit. Take a look at that 15-minute chart. As you can kind of see here, you are getting higher lows, kind of an equal low here, but you are kind of topping out here at the same point over and over again. So that 50% line on our fib retracement looking like it's a local resistance area that's going to drag things back down. And like with Bitcoin, where I thought we'd come back down to the platinum pocket, I think we come back down to the golden pocket for Solana. That's sitting at that 179.50. Let's see what the chat's saying. I did see it start moving. I know we had a alt request from Jesse, AIXBT. If you could let me know what exchange you would like me to look at that on, I can definitely do that for you. We've got, if Uncle Jesse, if anything, I propose it, then someone steals it and sues me for thinking of the idea. I'm not sure what that one was on, but this chat's always interesting. Something going on. We've got all set in here. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. Nope. All right. No other alt requests there. We've got Wayne C saying good morning, guys. Good morning, Wayne C. Hope you had a great weekend. We've got Junior Block in here. Good morning. Good morning. Not seeing anyone else in there. Let's see. BC's beard is so dark it blends in with his shirt, making him look like he is no neck looking mofo. Or BC be doing a lot of neck only workouts. Well, it might be a little bit of both of those, because I try to work out every morning, but it's not neck only. I do a lot of shoulder workouts though, but the beard is kind of, yeah, right at that point. I do have a neck. It exists, but the beard is growing out, and I like it a lot. BC, decentralized exchange, use DEX tools chart. Let's see. What is that on AIXBT? I can take a look at that right after I take a look at ENA, if that's what that's on. Let's see. ENA. I didn't see an exchange for that one, so let's just go with the Binance one, because it'll probably have the most history. Let's zoom it on out there. All right. Decentralized exchange, use DEX tools. All right. Let's zoom it on out. Take a look at the weekly chart. See if it's sitting the same as the rest of the market is. Oh, this is a newer project. Okay. Well, we'll zoom it on into the daily then, because I'm not going to get a lot of data from that one. Let's go from here to here, get the top there, and see where we're sitting on a retracement, and then draw out a Fibonacci extension, high to low to high to low, boom, and see where they all line up. Let's lock those fibs and then zoom on in to the daily. All right, we're sitting right above the golden pocket there on our Fibonacci extension. I don't know why that's not the right color. That should be gold. There we go. And then make that green. There we go. That's a little bit better. As you can see there's the golden pocket for the price on ENA on, we're sitting right above that. We're sitting right below the 382 on the Fibonacci retracement. Let's let's hide the Fibonacci extension right now. Kind of look at our potential downside targets here. Now, as you can see, we're sitting on some outflows here, which are looking to potentially tick back up. And we'll just kind of have to see if we can find that floor the same way as the rest of the market. So we've got a potential bottoming point on the 382 sitting at 89 cents. That would be a nice little point that we'd make a more of a triple bottom on. Kind of looking to see if we can the price can be rescued by some inflows. Let's zoom it on in. Take a look at that 4 hour. As you can kind of see on the 4 hour, you are seeing that point where we're seeing topping. You've got a reversal signal here shown. You aren't seeing any overbought signals yet, so potentially seeing a 236 rejection before we kind of move down. This might be just a little continuation where we make a higher low, higher highs before we really reject again off of this 236 and drag back down. This is that 4 hour chart. So let's zoom on in just a little bit, kind of see. We do have your money flow sitting nice and green on the 1 hour, but you are seeing the same little reversal signals that have started to play out. Your MACD line just crossed your indicator line and is looking kind of down for the MACD, especially as it is just ticking to the red as well. So let's see what that 15-minute is looking like for the morning. Now, as you can kind of see here, we've got that MACD, which just broke to the bottom side of things. Really bounced off of that indicator line right here on the bottom side. So definitely looking a little bit bearish here for the morning. You do have that reversal signal that played out for a slight move to the upside to really make some equal highs here before we're looking at some more downside. The money flow is red on the 15-minute as well. So looking like that might bleed over to your higher term time frames, and I'd be looking for that bounce here at, what was it, 89 cents, 89.5 cents, if we can really see that floor there. That's a bit of a move to the downside. It really depends on how far down Bitcoin's going to go today. So let's see. I use CoinStats Pro to trade it. Guessing that was for AIXBT. We've got Crypto Billy. I think every beard in the crypto game needs to be checked for PEDs. Dyes, straighteners, and other tools should not be allowed. This one's all natural. And I can prove it. Let's see. He man, I use a little just for men here and there. I so much want my beard to be all white, but it's a slow roll, man. I just like symmetry and not blotchiness. And you know, they say people like that salt and pepper look, but I don't think mine's gonna get there for quite a while. I'm on the younger side of the crypto space, so mine's just going dark red now from dark red now in the summers, and so I think this will be the first area for me that ends up going white. We see a username saying, "I feel you, Crypto Billy. Mine is striped like a tiger." So I figured to keep all the natural look, it's an interesting salt and pepper look. That does sound like an interesting one. Let's see. All right, let's hop over to Dex Tools. Let's pull the internet back up on that one. All right, you said it was Dex Tools. Is it this one? Let's see. BC decentralized exchange use DEX tools chart. Was that on TradingView or is it on that? AIXBT. Let's see. There's it on Binance, but let's see. Let's see if anyone says the B is supposed to be, still need the B hard E valuation and art stink division username. You're something else sometimes. Let's see. Decentralized. I'm seeing it on Binance. Let's pull up that chart and go off that, because I'm not seeing for the DEX tool screener. You're gonna have to talk me through that one, Crypto Billy, because I've never really used those DEX tool screeners. So I normally just trade on Bitcoin and buy the few alts that stick with my Bitcoin maxi viewpoint. So let's see what we're looking like on a Fibonacci extension. We've got low to high to low, sitting right at that 1618 there for the price. Looking to get a little bit of a bounce off of it. Let's take that one off, redo a Fibonacci extension. We've got low to high to low. We're sitting on right below that zero line, so definitely got some potential to run on AIXBT. Let's kind of see where we're sitting at on a retracement there, because you do have some potential for some downside as well. Let's hit the low before the move up. Make sure to hit that top, and we're sitting at right above that 236. Let's lock it, and let's see on the 4 hour kind of where we're sitting for liquidity. Oh, this is a very, very new project on Binance. So what clever, I know, BC. Old man problems. All right. Well, could kind of move that retracement all the way over from the beginning. Let's see. From the beginning to there, we're sitting above that 236. You've got liquidity, which is starting to curve over on it. Your MACD is starting to get that curvature as well. Your prime oscillator is already dragging down on the 4 hour. So definitely looking for a little bit of some downside after a massive run up. Let's see, from bottom there to top, sitting up 100%. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Look at you, Jesse. Look at you, Jesse. Always getting those nice those explosive moves to the upside. So definitely looking for a little bit of a retrace, especially after a 100% move to the upside. You know, seeing us hold that 50% line on our Fibonacci retracement back here at 39 cents would be a nice move to see. If we're extremely bullish on this project, you might see some of that not even get hit. Seeing that 382 bounce is another solid move to make. Let's try to see here if it lines up. Would definitely be some potential for a sideways movement on it. There's not really a clear trend line there to the bottom side, top side neither. I'm just gonna exit that out because it's a very, very, very new here, and it's kind of hard to see where it might lie. besides the Fibonacci levels. So that 382 bounce, which is a move that is repeated over and over and over again in crypto and other projects as well, would be the potential bull case scenario there. That's just a quick downside of from current price about 13%. So a 13% retracement from current price after moving 100% to the upside is extremely healthy, and seeing that 382 floor at 42 cents would be extremely bullish. There is a small order block here between your 382 and your 50% line. So bottom side being 39 cents and going all the way up to right above that 382 at 42, almost 43 cents would be the next bull case scenario. That's about a little less than a 50% retracement from the highs there. So definitely allowing for another bouncing point there. It is 7 o'clock though, so that's kind of the best I can really do on something that's so new. I would look at some downside targets there at the 382 or the 50% line. You did get some equal candle bodies here right at that 50% line and that 39 cents. So I hope to see all of you over in the chats at AIXBT Crypto Show. Make sure to tune in a little bit later to Piper and OC Guy on the Morning Market Report. If you didn't check out that Markets After Dark show, should totally do that later after you watch AIXBT and Piper and OC. We also have the Crypto Nightcap, which will be making its return tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We do have Trade Intuition and Trade Academy coming on at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Markets After Dark again at 11 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. So go ahead, give all those shows a little watch and some love. Hit the like button for them. If you are new here and you aren't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification bell because we got 5 shows a day, Monday through Thursday, and then me and Piper with the morning shows to start your Friday. And then we start all over again on Monday. If you're not a part of the Discord yet, we have a lot of fun there, so join the Discord as well. I hope everyone wakes up because today's going to be a good day.